She had a key to my house, one that didn't fit, and the way she jammed it in my lock like she could will the teeth to change shape would have been funny if it wasn't my front door. "This is my property. To inspect," she announced, chin high, voice pitched for the neighbors. Amy Roberts, self-crowned HOA president of a subdivision I don't even live in, snapped the key clean in half, then called 911 to report me for trespassing in my own living room. Yeah, that happened. And while she performed for the cul-de-sac crowd, I called someone who could actually change the story. Mia, my college friend who works dispatch, because if Karen was going to write fiction, I was going to attach the facts. 8 months earlier, I'd stood on this same porch with a set of keys from a bank foreclosure auction and a promise to myself: no more letting anyone control my space. Tuesday morning, October light, coffee steaming, slippers on. This house finally felt like home. Then Amy marched up my driveway like she owned the place. Clipboard in one hand, a key ring in the other, helmet hair, power suit. The whole "I demand to speak to your manager" vibe, declaring. Jurisdiction she didn't have. She kept saying, "my property," sprinkling lawish words like seasoning. And for a second I felt that old wobble in my gut, the one from my divorce when confidence is so loud you start doubting math. But when I asked for documentation, her mask slipped, and underneath I saw something raw: rage, loss, like she was staring at a house that had refused to love her back. Neighbors drifted into a little amphitheater of suburban drama. Margaret from across the street, 72, authority believer. Dave Kumar, engineer, mid-40s, problem solver eyes. Lisa, 2 doors down, single mom, protective stance near her kid. Phones up, lenses out. Amy played to them, sermonizing about hardworking Americans and entitled tech bros. And for a minute you could feel the street tilt her way, until Ted stepped out. Ted Williams, 67, retired public defender, posture like he'd won arguments for a living, walked over with a manila folder thick enough to choke a copier. He didn't interrupt, didn't raise his voice, just watched Amy, the way trial lawyers watch a hostile witness misremember details. When she flung a business card at my doormat and drove off, tires angry, Ted turned to me with that gentle judge of character look. "Document everything. Prepare for war. Your home is your castle." Then he went inside and started reading. And I saw the blood drain from his face through the window like someone had turned a dimmer switch. 2 days later the letter landed, $8,000 in fines for 23 violations under an HOA. Never joined. Grass at 2.1 inches instead of 2, mailbox 3 degrees off center. Improper seasonal decor in October despite my porch being aggressively undecorated. Official font. Counterfeit letterhead. Statute numbers that mapped to nowhere. It was so brazen it made me Google, "am I losing it?" just to check. That night Ted brought the manila folder, evidence from 2 years ago. Amy had tried the exact same scam on him while his wife was dying of cancer. Fake violations, bogus legal threats, pushing them to tear out a rose garden planted for their 50th anniversary. He'd scared her off by threatening the bar association, but the damage stuck. His wife died believing she'd caused legal trouble with her flowers. Ted had been waiting, quietly, for the day he could make it mean something. So we went to work. I built a spreadsheet the size of a small moon, tracking Amy's claims, dates, contradictions, because when reality breaks, a programmer organizes the chaos. Ted dove into case law. We learned her real estate license was suspended 4 months earlier over an elderly client's deed that mysteriously vanished. She was still showing houses. Anyway, felony territory. My Ring camera footage showed her casing my property at all hours, practicing 911 lines in her car like an actress. Make it sound more urgent. Remember to mention aggressive behavior. We found the 1962 subdivision plans with iron markers every 100 feet and spent our weekends metal detecting like low-budget pirates. When the detectors sang and our shovel hit iron, we hooped like idiots. GPS photos, measurements, chain of custody. We thought we'd found the golden ticket proving my lot had never been in any HOA corridor. Act 2 kicked off when Amy staged her big show, a locksmith van, a crowd of neighbors, and a 911 call delivered like Shakespeare in a parking lot. Aggressive male, licensed professional, lawful access. While she broadcasted victimhood, I speed-dialed non-emergency and begged Mia to annotate the call. "Email me everything and I'll attach it to the case notes," she said, calm as a surgeon. I fired off documents, timestamps, the whole messy timeline. Officer Jackson showed up with measured skepticism. "Equal distance between us. ID, please. Court file number, please." Amy stammered. "Ma'am," he said, patient. "Civil paperwork doesn't authorize forced entry. Without a writ of possession signed by a judge, nobody's changing these locks." The crowd's energy shifted. You could hear a balloon deflate. Margaret blinked. Dave asked to see my deed. I handed it over like a proud parent. Lisa took her kid's hand and stepped back from Amy's orbit. Ted, on his porch, watched like a man witnessing karma in high definition. Amy regrouped with a hired surveyor, her cousin Jimmy, allegedly, claiming my property bled 15 feet into HOA land. We countered with our iron marker. In court, her team wheeled in charts and an expert who said old markers wander like lost socks. Construction, landscaping, soil creep. Unreliable for modern boundaries. The judge nodded along, and our beautiful iron post melted into interesting, not conclusive. The restraining order she filed against me stuck. 8 neighbors testified for her. My late-night research looked like stalking. My public records requests like harassment. My biggest client bailed. Credit cards maxed out. The house I'd fought to claim started looking like a prison with crown molding. I packed boxes. I cried the ugly cry you never plan on anyone seeing. You know what I mean? Then Mia called. Casual voice, nuclear payload. Odd pattern. Your Amy's been calling 911 from different addresses. This morning she reported a break-in at her house. If she'd reported a burglary at address A while swearing under oath that address B was her primary residence, and also claiming residency at address C for a homestead tax break, well, you can only live in one place at a time outside of science fiction. Perjury, fraud, false filings. Ted, from a hospital bed with stress palpitations, filed an emergency motion that read like a closing argument sharpened to a blade. We stapled Amy's 911 audio to utility records, tax exemptions, voter registrations, license board suspensions. Even an old business card she dropped on my mat. Different company name. Closed by the state for fraud 3 years back. The courtroom for that hearing was standing room only. Neighbors, reporters, people who heard HOA and came for blood sport. Amy arrived lacquered and steady, confidence painted on, fingers trembling if you watched closely. The clerk ran her expert's license status. Live, suspended 8 months ago for fraudulent assessments. The moment landed like a gavel to the spine. Amy's attorney tried the professionals have multiple addresses, tap dance. The judge wasn't cute about it. One homestead at a time, he said. Pick which perjury you prefer. Amy's composure shattered. She ranted about protecting property values from outsiders, about 30 years of service, about millennials ruining civilization. Mascara streaked. Microphones leaned in. Phones recorded. When the agents stepped through the double doors, federal, jackets lettered, my chest finally loosened. Mail fraud, wire fraud, elder abuse, real estate license permanently yanked. 15 families across 3 states, $340,000 siphoned through fake fines and manufactured emergencies. The feds had been building a case. Our evidence finally snapped the last lock. That's the thing about scams built on fear. They work until they hit someone too stubborn or too resourced to fold. I didn't get rich off the aftermath. I got right. The court cleared my title and lifted the lien. A civil judgment covered my legal costs, 35 grand that felt like oxygen. Amy got 18 months in federal custody and a restitution order she'll be paying until forever has a forwarding address. The broken key she left on my step sits in an evidence bag now, a tiny museum piece of failed intimidation. The neighborhood did its awkward apology tour. Margaret brought cookies and sincerity, and I took both. Dave and I became workout buddies. Turns out data guys love spotting each other. On deadlifts. Lisa started a watch program rooted in facts, not fear. Ted came home from the hospital, stood in his kitchen under the evidence wall, photos, colored string, dates, and exhaled like heat. Finally honored his wife's roses. We pushed for safeguards, auditing for any HOA that touches our street, resident bill of rights, mandatory transparency on fines and authority. Real authority stands up to sunlight. Fake authority needs shadows and a shaky voice with a clipboard. What sticks with me isn't the arrest or the news vans or the way the crowd changed sides when the badge numbers didn't match the noise. It's the 6 minutes between Amy's 911 call and Officer Jackson's arrival, when I shoved the truth into a pipeline that could actually use it. It's Mia saying, "Email me everything." And the way competence feels like grace when you're drowning. It's Ted, steady hands, tired heart, turning grief into motion, finding iron in the dirt and steel in the law. It's the reminder that the people who shout the hardest about order often mean my order. And the moment you ask for a judge's name, the volume drops. Let me back up a sec and leave you with the picture that still plays in my head like a movie. The final wide shot. Evening gold on the street, kids on bikes weaving figure eights, dogs tugging leashes, the hum of sprinklers, and me standing on my porch with Ted, both of us holding coffee that keeps getting cold because we keep talking. Across the way, Margaret waves. Dave jogs past and yells about leg day. Lisa laughs at her kids' chalk. City spreading across the sidewalk. The air feels simple, finally. Then a car I don't recognize eases down the block. A slow, curious glide, and a stranger lifts a phone, filming the houses like he's cataloging opportunity. You can feel the neighborhood hold its breath. Here's the question I can't shake. Do we learn, as communities, or do we just reset and wait for the next Amy in a different jacket? When somebody shows up at your door saying they have authority over your life, do you ask for the court file number, the supervisor's name, the statute they're hanging their hat on, or do you hand them the keys because they sound certain? Tell me where you land on that. What justice looks like where you live, and whether you think we did the right thing. Drop your take. What's the line between protecting a community and controlling it? And how do you tell the difference when the clipboard looks official?